Crown molding is probably one of the more difficult things in this project. It is something that most people fear, but there's no reason to fear it. You just have to know a couple of different things. Upside down and backwards is the traditional way to cut crown molding. The nice thing about this is you just have two outside corners. So if you don't feel comfortable, go grab yourself a little extra crown molding and then try some test cuts. It always makes sense. If I know this is going to be my left-hand cut, I might cut this and lay it by my saw to say, which one is this again? The more you do it, the more comfortable you'll be, and in the end, you won't even have to think twice. Kreg makes a product called the Crown Pro right here, and what this does is it sits on your miter saw and holds the crown molding at the appropriate spring angle. The spring angle is the angle in which, again we're getting technical, in which it actually sits on the wall. So if this is my crown molding, this is the bottom, this is the top, that angle that's created right there, that is the spring angle, and that's sometimes the hardest thing to do, is hold the crown molding at the right angle when you cut your miter. What this does is simply hold it at that right angle with no problem. You just hold it like that and then you make your 45. Very, very simple. A really cool thing to have if you're new to crown molding and you want to learn quickly. This really helps. It's got a nice little detail down here where you can adjust the spring angle, and a nice little bevel angle finder that shows you exactly what your spring angle is. So it might be something, if you're new to crown molding, it might give you a little more confidence to tackle it. But for marking it, again, we're putting our tape measures away. I'm just going to hold it up underneath. I made one miter on one side already. I'm just going to hold it up underneath, make sure it's flush on this side, take my pencil, mark it on the other, and then go over and actually cut my crown molding. I've got 3 pieces to cut. Now it's time to do it.
As you can see, I'm using the Crown Pro. It holds the crown molding at the perfect spring angle, and I figured while I'm here, might as well cut some of the baseboard to length as well.
Alright, so now it's time to attach our moldings here. Crown molding as well as the base. We've made our cuts. Now it's just simply lining it up. The one thing that I will say is you definitely want to utilize glue when you're nailing your crown molding on as far as your miters. You want to make sure the miter does not come apart. I'll move this over a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. Simply, I'm going to put the face one on first. First of all, put the glasses on. Grab my nail gun. I'm using 1¼ brads, 18 gauge. That way I don't blow too big of a hole through it, but at the same point not too thin so it doesn't hold it. So I'll go right like this. I'll line it flush, make sure it's flat against the top here as well as the side. My spring angle's perfect. I line up, I'm good here. With the other hand, strategically grab the nail gun and pop one in over here. Come over here, just make sure that I'm still okay, and I am. I like to keep it a little bit away from the miter so that way if I need to budge it a little bit, if I need to knock it this way or knock it the other way, I can. And then I apply a little bit of glue on my miters. I smear it out a little bit with my finger, and again, I grabbed the wrong one. I stick it right there on my finger. Slide my miter, making sure that it's nice and tight. Grab my nail gun and then pop it right in. Make sure that I lock in the miter, and by that I mean actually I'm going to cross nail. I'm going to nail one way this way, and then I'm going to also come over here and nail this way, making sure that you don't go too close to that edge, because if I go too close to that edge, I will split that molding. So just like that, and that's good. Pop one back here. Nice tight miter is what we want. Again, we'll sand that, fill those later.
Well, after tackling the crown molding, the base molding is a breeze. Simply just miter the edges, just 45-degree angles, and tack it in place, and you're done.
And there you have it, the bookcase. She is done! And I'm going to give her a name. I will name you Therese. Therese, the bookcase is finished. Name your bookcase whatever you want, but there's a sense of accomplishment. It took a little bit of hard work, not a lot, but a lot of fun. Very, very simple to do, a lot of simple joinery. And again, now you've got something, you didn't have to go to the store to buy it, you made it yourself. When I'm done with this, as soon as we're done shooting this thing's going to get finished and put in my house. And every time that somebody comes over, I'm going to say, I made that over there. That's mine. So the time that I spent in this was well put into it because I got a nice bookcase out of it, and any project for that matter. The Kreg jig, again, made it very simple to do, very dealable for somebody that's new to woodworking or new to anything like that, new to sharp tools, if you will. This is a great project because you get a lot out of it. You know, a lot can be said for this. Unfortunately, we're not done here. We still have a little bit more to do. We have to paint it, and getting into the painting almost right away is the finishing could be the hardest part. Again, you have the option, if you want, to stain it. You have to take into consideration earlier on with your materials to stain it. But to paint it, what I like to do is use a milk paint, which is a little bit milkier than most paints. It allows me to kind of rub through it a lot. But whatever you do, if you're going to do a finish like this, I recommend using a flat paint, whatever the sheen be flat. Because once you paint over it, and then when you sand, you're going to come back and glaze over that. So I pre-painted something here, and I'm going to show you literally. This is so simple. Let me move this over here so you can see. It's a little disconjointed here. But this is the piece of wood right here. I slapped the paint on it. It doesn't even have to be pretty. You just get it on there. If you want it less distressed, again, our other one was really distressed, so I put a very minimal amount of paint. If you want it just very little distressed, then you put more paint. And all you're going to do is grab your sandpaper. I'm using 120 grit. And all you're going to do is just rough up the edges. Just a little bit of rubbing through the edges. And you can see almost right away that you can see the bare wood underneath. Very, very simple to do. Now, when I glaze that, that's going to pop. Whatever color glaze you use, that's going to really pop. Now, depending on what your ideal finish is going to be or what the look you want, will depend on how distressed. I prefer to kind of really get in there, kind of really rough up the edges. Think about, if you're doing the distressed, what it would be normally. Like if this was a drawer front, think of belt buckles wearing away the wood at that spot. Don't do stuff just, for the sake of doing it. Try to think through it. Now there it is right there, unfinished. Looks kind of boring, looks kind of cool, but now is where it really pops. Now we'll take a glazing effect. Let me grab this. Open this sucker up. Now this is a glaze. You can use stain if you want. You can use thin down paint, but I prefer glaze because now my hands are going to get really dirty. Oh, I got an extra glove. Here we go. So all I'm doing is taking a rag. Now watch the transformation from this to when it's glazed. Again, this is a brown glaze. Instantaneous age. Just like that. Now you've got the age in there, very simple, wiped it on. You've got a lot of character, a lot of depth in the wood. When you're done with this, you have to wait for this to dry, obviously. Then you can shoot it with a little polyurethane or whatever you want to do for your top coat. I would recommend doing something that's not a high gloss, just because it sort of takes away from the character of it. But if you need that protection, you could do that as well. Now, last but not least, I'll tell you a little tidbit of information. I'll lose my Michael Jackson glove here. Is that for me, painting with a brush is old. It takes me more time than I care to ever talk about. So what I like to use is an HVLP, which is back here. These systems are great because simply I fill up the cup with the paint like that. I fill my paint in here. I put it on like this. I plug this into the wall. I pull the trigger, instantaneous gratification. It's very quick. I have very little overspray. I don't use as much paint, and I don't have to crack out the brush or anything like that. It's very simple. So for you people out there that want a little bit more from your projects, consider an HVLP. These are, very, very well priced nowadays. A while ago I would have said they're very expensive, but nowadays they're good in price. They've come down greatly, and they have great results. That being said, the only thing left that you have to do on your project now is fill the nail holes. Grab some wood filler or make your own from some wood glue and some sawdust that you have from your project. Fill in your holes, do a final sanding, put on the paint, and you will be finished. Pat yourself on the back because you did a great job, or at least I'm hoping you're doing it and not just watching this. If you haven't done it yet, hopefully we've inspired you to actually build this bookcase, because it is a fun project and I really do think you'll enjoy it for years to come, both in your house and the memories that you had for building it. So thanks for watching. Very more than happy to do so. Some charge, so sorry. The couple good. I got it out. Feels better, and it's just a better all-around project. Bookcase, and you could slap it in your house, but you want to make sure that it looks appropriate as well. It's got to be strong, it's got to look nice, and honestly you want to be proud of it when you're done.